We have Olympic Games coming up in a few months in Pyeongchang. We've covered in depth a few times that the NHL isn't going. Now, the NHL is not going for NHLPA reasons. Let's be honest. If the NHLPA could have had it written into the last agreement, if they knew that was going to be an issue, they would have. They want to go to the Olympics. They want to carry their team, their country's colors and represent their nation on the global stage. The NHL owners don't really care. They don't see a lot of money out of it. The growth, it's not really their growth. And they're taking a risk of their players' health. So, this year the NHL is staying home. Now the KHL, due to ongoing scandals involving enhancement drugs being used through a complex system the Russians have. Basically, it's the Russian government, in the accusations has been that the Russian government is sponsoring the drugs and the attempt to hide said drugs being used by their athletes from the IOC when they do their testing. So the IOC is doing extensive testing on Russians and looking into pretty much anything the Russians have touched. And the Russians are saying this is unfair. This isn't right. And as a result, the KHL, which is Russian owned and operated, they are talking about not sending players. And they're very serious. Now, the interesting point that's been raised by Bob McKenzie is that since 16 out of the 21 players who represented Canada at the last tournament in Finland are KHL, those Canadian players also, by being transferred to the KHL through the International Ice Hockey Federation, the double IHF, well, can they be barred by the KHL, or can they, through the double IHF, say we have a backdoor to go to the Olympics? Yeah, we're under contract to play for this KHL team, but due to the agreement that you guys have with the double IHF, we can go over and play in the Olympics. That's the question mark that's out there. And now the next thing is, okay, so if you can't use NHLers and you can't use KHLers, who are you going to use? And then it becomes, well, what about junior players? Okay, so if a junior player's under contract to an NHL team, can he go? Will NHL teams allow that? Probably. I can't see why not, personally, unless owners say, nope, we're not sending our players over. We don't want to see our prospects go over there and get hurt. And there's a lot of politics being played on both sides of the ocean with this. Believe me, the difference is the KHL's playing politics with the double IHF and the IOC, and the NHL's playing politics with the NHLPA. Now, the relationship between the NHL and the International Olympic Committee is not good. We know that as well, and that's been the case throughout these negotiations and this whole process. But these Olympics are going to be very, very interesting, because if you don't have NHLers and you don't have KHLers, and if NHL teams say, well, we don't want anybody that we have under contract going over, well, then that cuts out the American Hockey League, which was ruled out when the NHL was ruled out. Who's left? Is it a matter of guys who haven't been drafted yet? Are we going to see junior age players doing this? Are we going to see junior age hockey teams at the Olympics? I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do and how they get around it. I would not be entirely surprised to see players under KHL contract not try to go to the Olympics. You don't want to go via KHL or from the KHL through the double IHF to the Olympics and then find you don't have a job when you get back. Find out KHL teams have said, yeah, you guys wanted to go over and play in the Olympics. Awesome, good for you. We are not going to support you guys anymore. And that absolutely could happen. Oh, we terminated your contracts. Too bad, so sad. Guaranteed contracts are not as big a deal in Russia as they are in North America. And I could definitely see them pitching Canadian players out that defy them and go over and play in the Olympics. And it's silly, because the Olympics really are staged for all of the best. I know when the Winter Olympics are up, I watch as much as I can. I make sure that I'm watching curling. I make sure that I'm watching both men and women's hockey. And I like to watch some of the skiing, some of the different snow sports. Snowboarding is usually fun to watch. And this time around, when the Olympics are on, absolutely we can do some live streams and whatnot. But that's for another time, of course. And if I'm live streaming, and the games are coming at us from North Korea, I'm going to have days where I can't live stream because either I'm going to be trying to sleep because I got to go to work the next day, or it's just no point because everybody will be asleep. So we'll see what happens with this. I'll be interested to know your thoughts. Who is going to wear the Canadian flag? And if the KHL doesn't go, who goes for Russia? There's an interesting point. Everybody was like, oh, well, Russia's going to win the gold medal. Without Russia, without the KHL, maybe Great Britain sends a team over and they win a championship. How about it? Maybe that Mighty Ducks movie can be realistic and maybe Iceland will be #1 at the Olympics. Let me know what you guys think. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through and you happen upon this. And I'll talk to you again soon.